Innovation districts have very unique needs, so which are the top 10 CRMs for innovation districts 2024. That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So let's dive in. Hello everyone, my name is Seb. I work at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent CRM ERP digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, CRM selection, implementation, and change management. That note, let's go back to today's topic: top 10 CRMs for innovation district. Before we look at the list, let's define what is innovation district. And this is a newer concept that is created in partnership with cities as well as some of the cities and universities, and they are trying to foster the innovation ecosystem to be able to maintain some of these systems. That's what they might care for, or sometimes they are enabling this to be able to create that some of these research organizations may care for. So there are several different interests that are driven by the districts that may be aligned with their donor base. For the most part, these districts are funded by their donors. They are going to be cities as well as universities, depending upon their interest. In general, they are going to have very complex business. They have flavors of your not-for-profit, but then they are also going to have real estate and construction flavors. In general, with these districts, they are going to have very small city. So any of the processes that are relevant for the city, that's probably going to be relevant for these districts as well. It's just that they are not going to be as robust the way the city processes are. And the building that they have, they rent it out to different tenants, and these tenants are going to be technology companies, biotech companies, research companies, etc., that might be engaging with these innovation districts, depending upon their interest, depending upon that they want to be with the startup ecosystem. So these are some of the challenges from the innovation district and the kind of CRMs that they are going to require. So as far as the scope of this list goes, this is going to be just the CRM, which all of the customer touch points from the omni-channel traceability, covering all of the customer channels. And then this list is going to incorporate all innovation districts, all sizes, that they're going to be small, large, etc. All of those are included as part of this list. The criteria that we use to compile this list is the product share, the acquisition strategy focused on innovation district. If these CRM systems are capabilities that are meant for the districts, they generally rank higher on this list. Then you have the product roadmap, community ecosystem, win rate, technology strategies, investors. So all of those factors we generally include in filing this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Odoo CRM. Odoo CRM is a great fit for companies that care for transactional operational processes that are slightly more diverse business models. In general, innovation districts are going to have 4, 5, 6 different business models that are part of their overarching. So number one, not-for-profit is they are going to have a lot of different programs. The educational workflows, they are going to require some of event-centric workflows. Then they are going to have the flavors of construction, real estate, etc. So these are some of the business models. And when you have that, the majority of the prescriptive systems, for example, let's say if you look at the not-for-profit CRMs, they might not be relevant for innovation districts because of the complexity of the model. They might cover them more from the fund development perspective, fundraising perspective, but they might not be as customizable either for businesses or the organizations as complex as innovation districts. So the other strengths that we have from the Odoo CRM perspective, it is going to be highly customizable, accommodating all of those business transactions as well as processes. So that is not going to challenge you. In general, their licensing is going to be cheaper. They have a lot of different open source apps as part of their portfolio, but even for the paid apps, the licensing is comparatively cheaper compared to some of the other products that are going to the same customizability that Odoo is offer. If you are going to have workflows related to your grant and reporting, in general, you require or deeper alignment with your financial processes, with your grant reporting, etc. processes. So if you require those, then Odoo CRM is going to be some of the limitations is not well adopted among not-for-profit as well as the innovation districts. So that's going to be a huge negative for Odoo CRM. Then some of the integrations with the upstream providers, for example, let's say if you look at DAM, which is your digital asset management, some of the mainstream search providers, especially the newer ones in the headless community, if you care for those, then you may need to build those custom, and that is going to drive your consumption cost, the development cost, the integration cost. If you care for the omni-channel traceability, combining the any sort of paid or ads channel, if you have that, then Odoo CRM might not be best fit. Again, for that, you are looking at far more consulting effort in general. So these are some of the limitations to keep in mind. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Monday.com. Monday.com is targeted for slightly smaller districts that might not have as high implementation budget, and if it is more DIY fashion, then this could be it. The strengths that you're looking at from the Monday.com perspective is great capabilities to be able to build the customizable workflows. But again, the way Monday.com architecture is, all of the workflows that you have, they are primarily just the fancy spreadsheet. So each of the sheet that you are going to have, obviously, you can create multiple groups inside those spreadsheets. But this is just much more capable Google Sheet. In Google Sheet as well, you have sort of the forms that is backed by a spreadsheet, but then you don't have as many capabilities from the Excel sheet perspective. Here, what you are doing is you have groups, etc., and then you can enable some of the workflows from each of the cells, columns, etc. You can take different actions. You might be able to trigger different apps. So you can do all of that. But when you are looking at the data structure or data model as complex as what you are going to need for your innovation districts, that's where you are going to run into challenges with Monday.com. So if you have very simplified workflows, for example, let's say if you are mapping a process for your program, you need to map a very simple admission process. You might be able to do that, but then you are going to run into a lot of limitations once you do that. If your process is going to become slightly more complex in terms of different steps, in terms of the hierarchy of different business objects, the way they are going to be structured inside your model. So those are some of the limitations. But let's say if you are super limited on your implementation yet, and if you're looking to do this more in the DIY mode, then you don't have to get into those technical state as well as the complexity as you will face with some of the other systems on. This could be a great starter system to be able to map some of the processes, and once you outgrow them, then you can probably move to some future systems on. So the other strength that you have from the Monday.com perspective is the whole workflow integration. That is far richer, but again, the object hierarchy is not going to be as great in general. The ecosystem is there, but the ecosystem is not necessarily tailored for the innovation districts or for the not-for-profit. So you are going to find a lot of options, but they are not going to. So that's a limitation to keep in mind. Some of the other limitations that we have is you're looking at very expensive consulting help to be able to enable these workflows on Monday.com because it's a fairly vanilla platform. And if you have to enable all of those business objects that are going to be relevant from your not-for-profit perspective, from the real estate perspective, from the education business model perspective, all of those are not going to be there. And then the final challenge that you're looking at from the Monday.com perspective is the data integrity. for the most part, the data model is very loose. You can do reporting, etc. in combining all of those sheets that you have, all of those boards that you have. But again, the data integrity is not there because it is a very simple model designed to be in more of the DIY mode. So you are going to have the ease of use, but then you have to compromise on data integrity, etc. So that's number. Number 8 on our list is SAP C/4HANA, and it is a very enterprise grade system, especially if you are going to be very large, not for profit, and you care for those financial operational workflows from the grant and fund reporting perspective. If you have that, and especially if you are going to be on the SAP S/4HANA system for your ERP, then SAP C/4HANA could be a great system. The other strength that you have from the SAP C/4HANA perspective is some of the best of breed integrations that are available from the SAP perspective. For example, let's say if you care for your ACM, or you care for some of those supply chain centric capability, you have those as part of the model. They are available as part of the suite. Those integrations are baked, especially if you are getting everything from SAP's perspective. That could be a great plus for SAP C/4HANA. And then finally, the other plus that we have for SAP C/4HANA is it's a very enterprise grade platform. So you are going to have far more customizability. But then again, you are looking at very high IT budget in general to be able to enable those work. Some of the other limitations that we have from the SAP C/4HANA perspective is the marketing automation capabilities. For those, you are probably looking at add-on. Those capabilities are not going to be as immersive. They are not going to be as embedded as part of the core. And then upstream marketing integrations, any of the data providers, etc., the search providers or the ad providers, if you care for the channel connectivity as well as traceability with those tools, then that is probably going to be a limitation with SAP system. And again, it's going to be very expensive to implement because it's a very enterprise grade system. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Oracle CX Cloud. And Oracle CX Cloud is going to be a very similar system as your SAP S/4HANA. It is designed for very large innovation districts that are going to look for slightly more global connectivity, in different countries. If these innovation districts are going to be global, depending upon their footprint, for the most part, the innovation districts are very regional in nature. They might have transactional workload that is going to be far more in general, and for that you might require the enterprise grade platform, but in general their presence is not as global for the most part. So the other strength that you're looking at from the Oracle CX Cloud perspective is they have the enterprise grade marketing automation product that is included as part of the core compared to your SAP HANA, which does not have marketing automation included. And then it's going to have very similar capabilities from the grant and fund reporting perspective. And it is a very enterprise grade platform, just like your SAP C/4HANA. The limitations that you're looking at from the Oracle CX Cloud perspective is the upstream marketing integration and ecosystem. The challenge is going to be very similar to your SAP C/4HANA. And again, it's going to be very expensive to implement, just like SAP C/4HANA. And you are looking at very steep learning curve, just because the kind of layers that you're going to have, the kind of hierarchies that you're going to have like this, it is designed for those enterprise workloads. So if you are very large innovation district, then this could be a great system for you. That's number 7. Now, number 6 on our list is Blackboard CRM. And Blackboard CRM is probably going to be relevant for innovation districts that are going to be limited on budget, and if they are looking for slightly more siloed experience from the CRM perspective, they might not care for the connectivity across their different business models and the business processes. For example, let's say if their goal is going to be to get the CRM only for their fund development department while keeping the other departments of other CRM, that could be a great use case for Blackboard CRM. The other strength that you have from the Blackboard CRM perspective is that it is going to be a cheaper and faster implementation, especially from the fund development perspective, because these capabilities are going to be pre-built, pre-baked, pre-tested, as part of the. Then some of the other strengths that you have from the Blackboard CRM perspective is the integration with the Microsoft Power Platform that is provided out of the box. So you get far more flexibility in general from the Microsoft perspective. Now, some of the limitations to keep in mind is the scalability as well as the customizability. In general, for the innovation district, you are looking at far more scalable platform to be able to accommodate all of those business models, business transactions. That is going to be slightly limiting with the Black. The technology and cloud native features in general, their on-prem version is far richer with their cloud version. The cloud version is trying to catch up with their on-prem version. So again, you are not going to have as rich capabilities, in their cloud version. So that is something to keep in mind if you are considering Blackboard CRM, and that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is HubSpot CRM. And HubSpot CRM is great for innovation districts. For example, let's say if you care more for the upstream marketing workflows. For example, let's say if you're looking for omni-channel traceability and connectivity across different channels. For example, you have email, text, website. You are going to have post sales or the customer service workflows. If you have all of those, then your HubSpot CRM may be a great fit for those innovations. Some of the other strengths that we have, from the HubSpot CRM perspective is their ecosystem and integration, especially from the upstream marketing perspective, is going to be far richer. They might not be as deep from the downstream perspective, as well as from those transactional use cases when you have to enable all of those workflows. The technology is very cloud native, so you can expect all of those features that generally are going to be included with the cloud native platforms such as your enterprise search, mobility, etc. That is going to be a huge plus for HubSpot. The limitations that you are looking at from the HubSpot CRM perspective is overall customizability. There is a substantial limitation in their custom object, and for the most part, for innovation districts, when you are going to map all of these workflows, including your not-for-profit real estate workflows, your construction workflows, your educational workflows, all of those are most likely going to implemented using your custom objects. So the kind of options that you're going to have inside that, the kind of triggers that you're going to have, they are going to be substantially limited in general, and even their core objects are very limiting in general. So again, HubSpot CRM may not be the best fit for the innovation districts, but if you're looking for just to implement the website, from the CMS perspective, from the upstream marketing perspective, those could be great use cases for HubSpot CRM. And that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Creatio. And Creatio is designed for very complex technical use cases. It's a very technical platform, even though they are going to position themselves as slightly more low-code, no-code platform. But the perspective, the model that they have is very technical in nature. What that means is that you need to enable all of those business workflows, and sometimes that might require very heavy consulting effort to be able to enable all of those workflows on top of Creatio. And when you are going to look at the demo, you might not find all of those features that you care for as not for profit, and that's why you need to work with the developers, the consulting, to be able to enable all of those. But Creatio is going to provide you the customizability, the flexibility to be able to accommodate all of those different business models, because the perspective is not very business focused. It's not as constraining, limited as you are going to find with some of the other CRM systems on this list. They have a lot more integrations as well as ecosystems. They have a lot of apps in their ecosystem, but for the most part, the integration and ecosystems are not going to be as tailored and flavored for innovation districts. So that's going to be a little limitation there with Creatio. And they also offer the deployment flexibility. So if you care for deployment and flexibility, either because you are trying to keep data in a certain location, or you care for that from the licensing perspective, from of your cloud deployment, that could be a huge plus for Creatio. Some of the limitations to keep in mind for Creatio is, again, the consulting help and their UI is probably going to be clunky, and the marketing automation features might not be as intuitive as you are going to find with some of the other systems on this list, and that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE. And this is going to be great for the innovation districts that are looking for slightly more platform. They are going to have a much higher implementation budget in general. So the strength that you have from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE perspective is it's a highly customizable platform for enterprise needs. So that's a huge plus that you can mold it in whatever fashion you want. But again, that's going to require a lot more consulting effort in general to be able to enable all of those workflows. Now you have some of the options, especially for the not-for-profit centric workflows, but again sometimes those could be too bloated for the innovation districts, so they might not work for every single innovation districts out there. So you need to vet whether they are going to work and how all of these different business models as well as processes are going to work together in conjunction with some of these add-ons. So that's where you are going to drive a lot of effort from the architecture design consulting perspective. But Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE is going to be highly customizable if you are customizing core as opposed to relying on some of these add-ons that might be available as part of their ecosystem. And then they also have the full suite. So for example, let's say if you're going to be on Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO, or you care for those grant fund reporting scenario, etc., some of those data feeds are going to come from your ERP. So they have a lot more integration available out of the box, and that can save some in your consulting effort there. So those are some of the strengths. Now, some of the limitations that we have from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE perspective is overall the marketing automation CMS capabilities. They are not going to be as immersive. They are not going to be as intertwined as you are going to find with some of the other marketing automation system. You have several options available, but again, they are the experience may not be immersive as you will find with the vendors when you are going to get it from them. And then finally, it's going to have substantially steep learning curve, just because again, this is designed for those enterprise use cases. In general, those systems are going to have much higher curve. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Salesforce. And Salesforce is a very similar system as your Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE. Is designed for those enterprise use cases. The strengths that you're looking at is you have some of the service packs available. These service packs are going to be very similar to your add-ons in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE ecosystem. The difference is that the service packs that you have from the Salesforce perspective are going to be highly limiting, and they are going to have similar constraints as your add-ons overall from the design architecture perspective in terms of communication between different processes, different add-ons, etc. So you are still going to have all of those constraints, but at least you are getting from the same vendor, so you are going to have just a little flexibility in terms of the customizability of those service packs, etc. At least you are not going to be dealing with those legal issues in dealing with different vendors. So that is going to be a little plus there for Salesforce. Other strengths is it's going to be very highly customizable, just like your Microsoft Dynamics. Very well proven with your enterprise workloads, use cases. And then if you are going to have the territory planning, sales comp scenario, etc., then those enterprise use cases can easily be accommodated with your sales system. So those are some of the strengths. The limitations that we have from the Salesforce perspective is the marketing automation product is not as embedded, even though Salesforce has the marketing automation product included as part of the package, but it's not going to be as embedded as you are going to find with systems such as your Hub. The consulting cost is going to be substantially higher. So unless you are a large innovation district, this might not be the best fit for you. And then the website integration may not be as immersive, as seamless as you would like. So that's going to be a negative for Salesforce. So that's number 2. Now, number 1 on our list is Zoho CRM. Zoho CRM is great fit for innovation districts that are going to be smaller. And in general, they are going to be more on the smaller side. You don't have a lot of innovation districts that are going to be bigger, requiring the kind of transaction volume that your system such as your Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE or Oracle or SAP are going to support. And that's where Zoho CRM is a much better fit in general for your innovation districts. So now the strengths that you're looking at from the Zoho CRM perspective is that you are not going to have the same limitation from the transactional operational use cases perspective, the ones that you're going to find with systems such as your HubSpot. Here you are looking at detailed triggers on custom objects. The objects are far more customizable in general, whether you are looking at core objects, custom objects, you can create custom apps, etc. And these are going to be highly relevant for your innovation districts. And then you are also looking at many different apps that are included as part of the bundle. And you are probably going to require all of those for your grant reporting, for your fund reporting, once you are going to become bigger, depending upon which donors you are working with and what is going to be their expectations in terms of what they are looking to see from your perspective. In general, the innovation districts have far more complex use cases in terms of how they are acquiring these funds and how they are competing for grants. Sometimes they might have partnerships enabled with many different not-for-profit. They are working together in general. So you have those complex use cases. In general, you will struggle with those if you don't have a customizable system like Zoho CRM for your use cases. Then some of the limitations that we have from the Zoho CRM perspective is that the data model is completely independent for each of the apps. So the communication is going to be limited, even though you are able to enable the communication, but the experience is not going to be as immersive as you are going to find with one data model. For example, let's say if you go for Microsoft Dynamics 365 or Salesforce, they are going to do this as part of one data model, as opposed to having these data silos inside the app bundle that your Zoho CRM is trying to do. Then the CMS or the upstream marketing workflows are not going to be as robust as you are going to find systems such as your HubSpot. And then they also have limitations with respect to the communication among their data centers. So that's going to be a huge negative for Zoho CRM, especially if you're deploying this for global workloads. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we publish these videos on a weekly basis, so you might want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This podcast is also available in the audio form on major podcasting platforms such as your Apple, Spotify. So you might want to check there and subscribe. If you have not checked our digital transformation board for we are going to link that as well as an article that is going to happen on our site. So check that out. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.